before we talk about additives, we should talk about friction. Now, you got a surface that looks really smooth, but under a microscope, your two surfaces look very jagged. Now, if you've got relative motion, you can see where the high peaks are going to crash, and you're going to have, asperity contact, you're going to have adhesion, metal removal from one surface to another. I mean, that's wear. Now, wear is money, right? Because your parts are going to wear out, you're going to spend more dollars. Now, it's also heat, right? You're going to build up heat. That's lost energy, so that's fuel economy. So a lot of bad things can happen, and you need to get, obviously, parts lubricated. Well, how do you do that? Well, at rest, these are going to be pretty close together. But once I start getting some relative motion, just like a water skier gets pulled out of the water, he's going to be up on the surface in no time. Now we've got motion, but we don't have collision of any of these, asperities or high points. We've got a hydrodynamic film. Now, this can be a flat surface, or it can also be round surfaces. So if we look at, let's say, the bore of a crank, and we look at the block that it's surrounded by, we can have basically relative motion of those two surfaces. So at rest, this crank bore might be sitting down here at the bottom, but once I get this relative motion and this crank starts spinning, now I'm going to build up that hydrodynamic wedge. This crank bore is going to lift, and I'm going to have an even uniform film thickness all the way around. That's why at startup you get most of your wear, because you haven't built up a film thickness yet. Well, other components never get the surface speed, like gears. So they never have really that film thickness. They've got a lot of contact pressures. So that's why Mystik spends a lot on R&D developing formulations, off of base oil that's going to get you all the performance needs that you have, whether it's, anti-friction, so you don't get scuffing, minimal deposit formations, so you don't get hot spots, for pre-ignition, stuck rings, everything from, anti-foaming, or if you think about the environment you're in, this boat's picking up a lot of salt air and it's ingesting it through the crankcase. You don't need that chemistry causing a lot of bad things in your engines. You've got to account for those. So that's why these formulations are so important, because they take care of everything from just your friction to chemistry of everything that's going on. You don't see sludge anymore in engines. Engines are better designed, but the chemistry of the oil is better too.